Hello and welcome to Health Fitness Redefined. I'm your host, Anthony Amen. Don't mind my tiredness. For all that you've been watching, really happy. I just had a kid, so trying to get through the sleepless nights in the beginning, but we're getting there. So without further ado, let's hop into another show. Let's welcome to someone I've been trying to get on for a couple of years, Jordan. Jordan, it's a pleasure to have you on today.
Thanks for having me on, brother. I appreciate it.
The biggest highlight for just me personally as an entrepreneur, someone who follows Gary Vee very well, I saw that and I was like, look at that. Huge win right there.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's definitely inspirational in this field. But before we hop into anything like that, just tell our audience a little bit about why you got into the training realm, kind of what got you started, and go from there.
Yeah, so I'm a short, bald, nerdy Jewish guy, and when I was young, my mom wanted my brother and I to be able to protect ourselves. And we're short Jewish kids, and she didn't want us to get bullied at school. So she came into the room one day. I was like 8 years old, and she was like, "I'm going to put you both in wrestling." And the only wrestling that I knew of was like WWE style wrestling. So I looked at her. I was like, "You want me to hit someone with a chair?" And she was like, "No, you idiot! Like Olympic style wrestling." And so she put us into wrestling. I fell in love with it, and I was terrible in school. I was in special education. I was not good at school, but I really fell in love with wrestling and sports and athletics. And I ended up making varsity as a freshman in high school. I beat a junior out for the varsity spot. But when you look at freshmen who are like 13, 14 years old, mostly going up against juniors and seniors, 16, 17, 18 years old, the strength differential is huge. And I did not have enough strength. So I lived in Massachusetts at the time. I wrote an email to a gym a couple towns over from me, and I was like, "Hey, I'll take the trash out. I'll clean the floors. Like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just like, let me come and learn from you." I wrote this to a gym in a couple towns over, and fortunately, they took me under their wing, and they were also very science based. So I started working in a very science based training facility from when I was 14 years old, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. I just enough self in a nutshell. So how many people nowadays would reach out somewhere and be like, "Hey, teach me. I'll do whatever you want. I'll take your trash out. I'll clean your floors." Like, you don't even hear that nowadays anymore.
It's very rare. People have a lot of entitlement to be like, "I'm not going to do it for free. I should be getting paid for my time." And I have two girls now. I have like a 3-month-old girl and a 2-year-old girl, and I'm very excited to have them grow up and like try and really instill good work ethic and make sure like they're not getting anything for free. Like, because I see a lot of that. And to be fair, it's not even just, I know a lot of people hate on younger generations. I see it in people my age and older. There's this feeling of entitlement. I get this, people will DM me on Instagram, and listen, I love when people ask me questions, but sometimes it's impossible to get to every single one. And people will get mad if I don't reply to their question on Instagram in what they consider a timely manner. It's like, what is this entitlement? It's a very interesting world that we live in right now.
I'm like slightly below you. Then I have an 8-day-old. So
Mazel tov. That's amazing. Congratulations.
First kid, but that was like one of my first thoughts. Like when my wife was pregnant and stuff, I was like, I want him to grow up to not have an entitlement. I want to start giving him all these books that I didn't start reading till I was 30.
Yeah.
Be like, listen, this is what you need to learn. This is what you need to grow. And then learn, which is the main premise of the show. And I really am excited to put it to use, that when you fall, that is the biggest opportunity to learn and grow and move up. So failing is more of an opportunity than it is an adversity.
Correct. 100%.
I love that. So you went from there, you were working at this gym, you were building education and stuff like that. What made you take that leap into the online realm? And what do you think was really the Kickstarter for you to make it big?
So at that point, so I was 14, I did that all the way until I was 18. After high school, I took a year off. Again, I was terrible in school and I didn't want to go to college. So I actually took a year off and I went to Israel for a year. I worked with Holocaust survivors, and I have family there. So I was there for a year and just volunteering. I was teaching underprivileged youth like English. And then I came back and I went to University of Delaware. I initially went into exercise science, after about a month and a half in exercise science, I was like, this is nonsense. Basically, because I'd already been coaching people for 4 years plus at this point. And I realized that you could have the best workout program, you could have the best nutrition program, but if someone's not following it, it doesn't matter. And I realized there were so many other behavioral and psychological components to fitness that weren't being addressed. So I dropped out of exercise science and I went into behavioral health psychology. And because I wanted to know why people are making the decisions they're making. Like, well, everyone knows that smoking cigarettes is bad for you. Everyone knows that. Why do people not just if they're addicted, but why is someone right now going out to get their first box? And why are they opening it up, even though there's a skull and crossbones on it, even though they know it'll kill them? Why are they doing it? You have 100 people and you ask 100 people, what's better for you, an apple or a donut? Every single person will tell you the apple is the better choice. But if you ask them which one they're going to eat, like you get one for free, not everyone's going to take the apple. Why are people making these decisions? I wanted to understand that. So I switched into that, which turned out to be a great decision from an educational perspective. But I also was competing in powerlifting at that time, and I had the opportunity to train at Westside Barbell and Cressy Performance and some really amazing training facilities. And I ended up making a website when I was what was it? It was July of 2011. So that was my sophomore year. It was the summer going into my sophomore year of college. I made a website and I was just literally going to upload videos to YouTube and write about my own training on the website. I just wanted to help teach people. This is before Instagram existed. This is before I knew an online business was possible. I was just like, I'll educate people about what I'm doing. And I had no idea an online business was going to be a thing. I thought one day I would open up a gym, and I would write at least one big article every week, and by one, like it was like at least 2,000 words. It wasn't like an Instagram post. Like it would take me like 16 to 24 hours to think of the article, write the article, edit the article, format the article, publish it, all of that. So I would do at least one of those every week for 2 years. And then by the time I ended up graduating college, I ended up having enough people. Like there's the first person who did it. It was a woman from Brazil reached out who had been reading my website, and she was just like, how much do you charge for online coaching? And I had, the way she phrased it took me by surprise, because I coached people, but they were all just people who I just did it for free. Like people who read the website, they'd be like, hey, can you write me a program? I would do it for free because I never thought about charging. And she was like, how much do you charge? And I was like, I don't know, $300. Like I didn't even have a timeline. I was like, just 300. Like it was just, that's it. And so she was like, cool. How much, how do I pay you? And I was like, I have no idea. So I found paypal.com and I made an account, and she sent me $300 and I designed her like a 12-week training program, nutrition plan. And she was my first ever online client. And by the time I graduated college, I had enough online clients to where I could actually I wasn't like making a ton of money, but for like a 21-year-old kid, 22-year-old kid, like I had enough to pay rent and enough to get groceries. And so that's when I was like, oh wow, this could be something. But even then I didn't think it was going to be my main business. I still thought I was going to open a gym. So I moved back to Boston, got a job at a gym in Boston while I was doing my online. So it was sort of like 50-50. And then about 6 months into that job, I really did not like my boss. I left and opened a gym with someone else in Boston, Massachusetts. We opened a gym together. And then I didn't really enjoy that. Like we didn't really click in terms of business partners. And by the time, like now at that point, a little over a year had gone by. So about a year and a half since I graduated college. And at this point, my online business was doing well enough to where I could support myself. So I actually left the in-person, went fully online, and I moved back to Israel because I loved it there. And then I was living in Israel for a while, just doing my online coaching and hanging out and lifting and coaching people, and just it was all online. And then I got contacted by Gary Vaynerchuk's team, and they were like, how would you like the opportunity to coach Gary? And I thought it was a joke. I was like, there's no way this is real. And but it turned out to be real. So I flew from Tel Aviv to New York, coached Gary for an hour for an interview, flew back to Tel Aviv. And then 6 weeks later, I found out I got the job coaching Gary. So I moved from Tel Aviv to New York, and I coached Gary every day for 3 years straight, from June 1st, 2016 to June 1st, 2019, 7 days a week, 3 years straight, no weekends, no vacations, no nothing. Wherever Gary was, I was. If he was in Hong Kong, I was in Hong Kong. If he was in Amsterdam, I was in Amsterdam. If he was in LA, I was in LA. Coached him every day. And throughout that entire process, I also was still posting on social media, still building my email list, still coaching people online, still making content. And then once June 1st, 2019 came, I was like, all right, I think I'm good, Gary. Like, that was very intense. I need to have some time to myself. And that's it. That's what I've been doing.
What a story, man. There's so much wrapped up in that you could just take a million takeaways. Even going back to your previous point about expectations and what people expect out of life, you literally took giant leaps of faith and did, for example, even in the beginning, you did 2 years of work for free, right?
Yep. Yep.
How many people would do that? Spend hours every single week going in, making the content, doing the work on it. And then over time, people say, oh, you got lucky. Maybe you didn't get lucky. Maybe you just put so much investment into so much opportunity into it that it ended up paying dividends on the back end for you and helping you grow.
The way I look at it is, and this is something that I want to instill in everyone, especially my children, though, is when I started my website, I was blessed because I didn't know an online business was possible. I have a feeling if I knew that making money was possible, I probably would have given up, because then I would have been doing it expecting to make money at the end. Like, every time I publish, all right, time to make money. And why am I not making money? But I was just doing it because I really loved it. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. And it doesn't mean it wasn't hard work. It was grueling. It was very difficult, but I also really enjoyed it. And so, because I didn't expect money on the back end, it made it easier to keep going, because I didn't look at not making money as a failure. I looked at it as just like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it anyway. I'm going to do it whether I make money or not. And so I think that for me was a huge takeaway, that right now I think many people, they'll give up on stuff too soon because they're not making money as quickly as they'd like. But if they kept doing it and did a really good job with it, in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, they would end up, they could make it their career, and they could make a significant amount of money and help a significant amount of people and have a wonderful life that they've built. But one of my quotes that I didn't make this up, but one of the quotes that I enjoy very much that has held true for me is, most people massively overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 7 years. And when you're in the process, like, 7 years is a long time. It feels like forever, but in the grand scheme of your life, God willing, it's really not that long.
That you know that right in the head. Like, when I first opened the doors of my gym, I was like, 1 year I've been grossing $1 million a year. And then COVID happened. So obviously that went downhill, especially being in New York. So
Geez.
1 year closed doors
during COVID. Oh my gosh. Especially as a gym owner. Oh man, that's like the worst of the worst.
25% of gyms in New York State went out of business for good. And we stuck it out, wrote it out for years. It was a lot of hard work, but
good for you.
I mean, we're kicking now, man. That's what it's all about. But it's going through 7 years, because we opened, technically the company started 2017. So 7 years of making no money whatsoever. And then all of a sudden things started going. It's all that extra back end work, all that investment, all that risk that eventually, will pay out, because you're saying, hey, in 7 years I can do something.
Correct. That's exactly right. Well done, brother. Huge congrats. That's a testament to your hard work.
I appreciate that. And it's fun. Fitness industry is fun. You don't like being a gym owner? I love it.
No, I liked being a gym owner. I didn't like working with my partner at that time.
Fair enough.
By the way, he's a great guy. Like, as a person, I really enjoy him a lot. As a business partner, I didn't like it.
That's why I did it myself.
Yeah, that's very smart.
I was like, I can't tolerate people. But no, it was phenomenal. It was a really great choice. I want to tie this in, though, just to hit more of a general perspective, right? We talked a lot about, this is what business owners do. Like, you take a risk, you're underestimating what you can do in 7 years. Tie that into nutrition and what you learned at behavioral psychology. People overestimate how much they can accomplish in 2 weeks when it comes to working out or nutrition. Even a day. I've heard people, I'll lose a pound a day. But they underestimate all the time what they can accomplish in a year or 2 years. What do you think the biggest drawback is, especially in that comparison of the apple and the donut, that makes people choose that donut 9 times out of 10 if both are given for free?
Why do I think people are choosing it?
Why do you think people go that route instead of
Yeah.
going the little tiny sacrifices every single day to really get where they want to be, to feel better, when they know good health is right on the flip side of just making a good choice?
So, here's the sort of the major issue is the issue isn't choosing the donut once. The issue is you choose the donut once and then you think you messed everything up. And so now you need to choose the donut every day, every meal, because you ruined it because you had it that one time. And then after 2 weeks of having the donut for every meal. And again, this is like hyperbole, but you have the donut all the time. After 2 weeks to 4 weeks or 3 years, however long it is, then you get sick enough of yourself where like, all right, I'm never having a donut again. I will never eat a donut for my whole life. And then you go a day, no donut. Awesome. You go 2 days, no donut. Great. Day 3, uh-oh, I sort of want a donut, but I'm not going to have it. Day 4, no, white knuckle it, not going to have it. I'm not having it. Day 5, have a donut. Then you ruin it again. And then this is the cycle where you think you have one donut and you've ruined everything. People view the donut as you said something earlier. You said, I don't view failure as adversity. Like you use it as a good thing. Um, People view the donut as a failure in a bad way. When you've identified that one food, and it could be a cheeseburger, could be fries, whatever it is. If you view that as a failure in a bad way, then as soon as you have it, you are now a failure and you're a bad person. And so my job is, how do I get people to understand that it's not what you do inconsistently, it's what you do consistently that matters, and that any one individual choice, especially when it comes to food, isn't going to make or break your progress. And so I think our job as coaches is not to demonize the apple and not to demonize the donut and sensationalize the apple. Our job is to understand, yeah, like the majority of time, let's make sure we're having the apple. But occasionally when you have the donut, I want you to enjoy it. And I don't want you to feel guilty about it, because the more guilt you feel about it, the more you're going to feel like a failure and the more you're not going to get back on track. And so that's where my general philosophy comes into play in terms of understanding the more we demonize this and make it seem like a failure, the more people are going to fail. And then the more, listen, like all I want to do every time I see a fire alarm is pull it, because I know I'm not supposed to pull it. Like I've been told my whole life, don't pull it, don't pull it, don't pull it. It's like, that's all I want to do. Basic human psychology 101. You tell someone not to do something, they want to do it.
Don't think of a pink elephant.
Yeah, immediately. You tell someone you can't eat a donut, now all I want is a donut. So telling people not to have it is not the right choice. It's getting them to be okay with having it, but also understanding just because you can have it doesn't mean you should have it all the time.
All right, I have the world's hardest question for you.
Go for it.
I hope you're ready for this.
Yeah, right.
As coaches, trainers, life coaches, we're very good at working with people who have that, okay, I need to make a change. So the question is, it's two-part. One, why are some people different in the sense where that failure mentality, right? Okay, now I need to make a change. Why does it take one person 3 days and one person 4 years and one person 20 years to come to that realization in a cycle? And then two, how do you open up the conversation with people who don't even have it in their mind that they need to make a life change?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a really wonderful question. And you're right, it is very difficult. It's very multifaceted. There's actually an entire model. There are many models based on this, but if you haven't heard of it, my personal favorite is called the trans theoretical model of behavior change. This is an entire model, and it goes all the way from the person who doesn't even know that they need to make a change, all the way to someone who's like, okay, I know I need to make a change, but I'm not really ready, willing, or able to make a change, to someone being like, okay, I know I need to make a change and I'm ready, willing, and able to make a change, but I don't know what to do. And it's like, okay, I'm ready, I know what to do, but I just need help start. It goes all the way up until like the end point isn't they've made the changes, they're sticking with it. The end point is actually, unfortunately, the end point is relapse, which is like, all right, you get to the end point. Okay, now they relapse and they go back. So hopefully they never reach the true endpoint. Hopefully they just stay at the second endpoint, which is they continue on with their healthy habits forever. But what I find interesting is, we'll start with your first question, is like, why are people different? Like, why does it take someone 3 hours, someone else 3 days, someone else 3 years, someone else 30 years to figure, and some people never. It's multifactorial. Part of it, I mean, there's a genetic component to everything, like to everything, even to like, there are some people who brush their teeth 6 times a day, floss 4 times a day, and no matter what, like their teeth just won't look the way they want. And other people who barely brush, barely floss, they've got these glistening white teeth. Like, it's like, what the fuck? There's just some people who lift a weight one time in their life and they're jacked and shredded. Another person who lifts for 20 years and they like look soft and like they're like, wow, like you actually lift. That's crazy. So there's a huge genetic component to basically everything, including this. I think a major one, potentially the most important one, even more than genetics for this one, is environment. I think who you surround yourself with, or who you are surrounded with, plays a gargantuan role in terms of what you do, the choices you make, what you think is important, what you think you're capable of. I think the environment that you have, which is really difficult, especially as a young kid, when you don't necessarily get to choose that. You don't get to choose who your parents are. You don't get to choose what they have in your house. You don't get to choose what they're putting in your ear, what they're saying to you, your siblings, all of that, who's in school, your teachers. I mean, we could dive down the whole topic of privilege, which I think is very overdone nowadays. But if you want to talk about the ultimate privilege, I think the ultimate privilege is having like 2 parents who really love you and care about you and who will do anything to fight for you and to speak positively to you and encourage you. And then being in an amazing school system with teachers who support you and like who are a great curriculum and who are trying to hold you accountable. These are all, like, I think, the ultimate privileges in life. And so if you have that, I think you have a much greater chance of being able to recognize, okay, these are the mistakes. This is my behavior I need to change. This is what I need to do going forward. But even then, when it comes to health, there are many people in that world who really struggle with their health. And there's so many different factors at play, whether it's trauma, and it could be physical trauma, it could be mental, emotional trauma. But these are all different things that can impact why. And by the way, it changes based on the behavior. There could be someone who is really struggling with their weight and their nutritional choices, but they could, like, all of a sudden, like, have no issue saying, hey, I've got to get my finances in check. And all of a sudden they stop useless spending. They make a budget. They figure out their finances. They save really well. They're a millionaire by the time they're 40, like on like $100,000 a year or less. Like, they crush it with finances, but when it comes to their own personal health, they struggle with making those choices. So it's not even just like the type of person, it's also the individual task and behavior for that person. So there's so many reasons why that it's impossible to just say this is definitively it. But I think that surrounding yourself with great people with same values, or the same values that you want to emulate, and then being objectively honest and aware of your decisions. And also, I think from our perspective, is educating people on what can really happen with minimal effort. This is what I've seen. A lot of people think they need to work out 7 days a week, 3 hours a day. They think they need to be perfect with their nutrition. They think they need to be losing weight every single day. And if they're not, then it's never going to work. Whereas it's like, if you strength train 2 times a week, and if you loosely keep track of your calories, and you just have protein, you prioritize your protein and you prioritize your fiber, and like you prioritize your sleep, just like general prioritizations. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you show them that, like, the increases in bone density, if you show them the increases in lifespan, if you show them the improvements that they can have, all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, this is worth it. Even if I'm not doing it to the extreme, at least doing it a little bit is going to be beneficial long term. I think as an educational resource, that's one of the most important, if not the most important, things we can do to get people to make these small changes.
Like I said, it was a hard question.
It was a brutal question. It was.
But I appreciate the super in-depth answer that you gave on a lot of it. You hit a lot of really good points where people are just overall different. It really depends on the prioritization of what they find important, whether it's the finances or whether it's their health or whether it's their time with their family. It's what you really want to focus on. But I think this all ties into the biggest question of all, which is, why are we losing? And I mean that by the sense there's more gyms, more trainers, more free information than there ever has been in the history of the world.
Yep.
And the life expectancy age is still going down. The debt we're getting involved in from the obesity rate is exponentially increasing. People are getting sicker sooner. There's obesity in 10-year-olds with type 2 diabetes that has never been around ever. And the obesity rate rises every single day. So why are we losing, and what can we do as individuals to really change that? And even to get more specific and more of a micro level, because I think that's the most important factor of it. Do you think it's right for somebody who, let's say, has a relative that's 100 pounds overweight to say, hey, look, listen, you need to make change now? Or do you think it's hey, we need to stay out of it, step back, it's their decision, it's their choice?
Great question. So to start with the why are we losing, again, multifactorial, but I think it's actually a much easier question. And I'll start with, we live in the most convenient time in history. Like, to be alive right now, could you imagine even 20 years ago, never mind 50, 100 plus years ago, telling someone it's like, hey, you pick this phone up and you can order any food you want and it will be delivered directly to your house. Never mind just like a meal. You can get your groceries delivered to you. You can get packet like Amazon. Like, you could get whatever you want delivered to your door today. You don't have like gift shopping. Before, you had to get up. You had to go to the store. You had to look through all the store. You had to go to the mall. You had to go, if you want to do your returns, you had to go back. Like, if you're going to the grocery store, and many people still do this stuff, but you don't have to. You could do your doctor's visit over the phone. You have telehealth. You have many people work from home now. Like, you don't even have to leave your house. And so I mean, I was actually out. We do a family walk every day. We're going to do family walk when we're done with this podcast. I look at kids now and they like electric scooters and electric bikes. They don't even pedal the fucking ground. They just zoom and they go super fast, not wearing a helmet, by the way, which I feel super old saying that. But like, these kids, like, they zoom by on a scooter that they don't even have to use their body for. It's just like they pull the handle. So for me, I think the obesity crisis, and we could go to nutrition as well, but I think it's mainly fueled by movement. A lack of movement is, I think, the biggest issue, because not only does it affect calories burned and all of that, but a lack of movement affects your mental health. It will lead you to choosing worse nutritional choices. The lack of movement, I think, is the starting point. It will lead to more depression. It will lead to more anxiety. It will lead to craving more sugary foods, more high fat foods. It'll lead, like, the lack of movement, I think, is the biggest thing. In addition to that, we have social media, which leads to more isolation. And then you see these extremist views. And there's no question that the longest living societies have the best communities. People have like in-person communities, strong in-person relationships. And now we have access to anyone and everyone online who has any opinion for whatever. And it could be like the dumbest thing you could ever hear. And then your blood pressure goes up. You're like, what the fuck did that person say? I can't believe they said that. Then your day is ruined and you're arguing with someone who you've never met, you never will meet. It doesn't matter. But you're not actually paying attention to your family that's in the room with you. You're not going to meet with them. You're doing everything over Skype or Zoom or whatever. So we're not moving. We're lacking in-person relationships. And in addition to that, the food we have access to is super high calorie. It's made to be addictive. It's made to be super outrageously palatable and enjoyable, that it's hard to, like Pringles, like once you pop, you just can't stop. Like, literally, the purpose of these foods is to make it so it's hard to stop eating it. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars testing these foods with focus groups to see which ones are going to be more difficult for people to put down. So like, all of these combined with one another makes it very difficult to actually be healthy. So I get pissed when people blame it just on sugar or just on seed oils or just on food dyes, when it's real. It's like, no, it's all of this put together. But I think lack of movement, lack of community, and eat too easy of access to this very highly processed, highly palatable food, hypo-satiating food is, I think, the three biggest issues for sure. As for what do you tell someone who's severely overweight, like a family member, here's what I'll say. And this comes from someone whose entire family has struggled with obesity. My brother was severely overweight. He literally just lost 150 pounds recently. My mom was very overweight for a long time, and she's just recently lost like 50 or 75 pounds at this point. So I have a lot of personal experience with it. And I'll say, number one, if someone has a lot of weight to lose, they know they have a lot of weight to lose. Like, they're not fucking stupid. They're acutely aware that it's a problem, and they're likely very embarrassed about it. If they talk about it a lot, usually it's their defense mechanism just to get it out of the way and talk about it, because like they're self-conscious about it. If they don't talk about it a lot, it's because they're self-conscious about it. It's because they know, and they just like, they are aware of it, and they're worried about what people think about them. So if they talk about it a lot or they don't talk about it a lot, they're insecure about it. I promise you. So generally, and this is again, basic psychology 101, you tell someone what they need to do, especially as an adult, they're going to be like, fuck you. Like, almost always. The best strategy is letting them ask you for help. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you wait until they do it and you just never bring it up. The strategies that I adopted for both my brother and my mom were always, hey, because sometimes they would bring it up occasionally, and whenever they brought it up, they would be like, yeah, I think I need to lose some weight. I'd be like, listen, I'll tell you what, if you need anything, I'm here. Like, I love you no matter what. But if and when you decide it's time for you to make this change, great. And for my brother, it was, I mean, I had these conversations with him for over 10 years. And for my mom, it was for like my whole life. And it only happened with my mom. It happened when my first daughter was born. That's when she was like, oh shit, like that was her moment. And these are like often like the rock bottom moments where it's like, fuck, like I've got to do something. And for my brother, it was around the time when I think he was like 34. And he was like, I really want to get married and have kids. And I think he was like, I don't know if that's going to happen if I stay the way I am. And so having like, I'll tell you what, this is sort of an unpopular opinion that I have, but one of the major things that I do with my podcast is I talk to people who've lost 100 pounds or more and kept it off. And I've spoken to many, many people who've done that. And the most common theme among these people that led them to doing it is fear. And so I know like, it's not like, I don't want to scare people, but if you look at people who've been drug addicts and been able to remove drugs from their life, when they hit rock bottom, it's usually fear. Something happened, scared the shit out of them to be like, I need to make a change. And so I don't think it's necessarily our job to try and scare them. They need to have something happen that will scare them into doing it, which as a family member, as a friend, it can be really difficult, but often trying to like shove it down their throat will actually push them further away. Oftentimes they'll need something to happen for them to realize they need to make that change.
Go back to your smoking example you used in the beginning of the show. They put skull and crossbones on the packs. How many people are making the decision to go grab that right now? But on the flip side of that, you go back, like you said, 30 years ago, how many less people are smoking?
Yep. Yeah.
Right? Huge comparison. And then go into a study that was released a couple of years ago, which you've probably heard about, is not exercising was increase your chances of dying at a younger age than smoking and exercising did.
Yes, exactly.
Crazy.
Insane. It's absolutely insane. Correct.
So you're better smoking a pack a day and still working out 3 days a week than not smoking and not working out.
Yes. Literally, exercising is better for you than smoking is bad for you. Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Crazy. Like exercise is the magic pill.
Like, some would say fitness is medicine.
It is. It is for sure. It 100% is.
I love it. Jordan, I'm going to ask you the final two questions I ask everybody. So the first question is, if you were to summarize this episode in 1 or 2 sentences, what would be your take-home message?
Say it, dude. I'm sorry. I like got so hyped up about the fitness is medicine that I like didn't even listen. Say it again.
No, it's good. It's at the end of our show anyway, so you can say it with me. I'll let you know when. The first question is, if you were to summarize this episode in 1 or 2 sentences, what would be your take-home message?
Oh, fitness is medicine. That's like perfect. Like, here's it. Exercise is better for you than smoking is bad for you. If that doesn't just blow you the fuck away, I don't know what else we can say. Like, our whole lives, we all know smoking will kill you. Exercise will save you. Like, I don't know what else to say. That's it.
I love that. I absolutely love that. The second question, how can people find you, get a hold of you, and learn more?
I'm everywhere. Just search my name, podcast. I have a podcast, Instagram, YouTube, Jordan Syatt. Like, I'm all over the place.
Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of Health Fitness Redefined. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button and join us next week as we dive deeper into this ever-changing field. And remember, say it with me, fitness is medicine.
Fitness is medicine. Let's go.
Thank you. Until next time.